commercial-free Catholic charismatic channel.
He's strengthening the faith of so many people.
To promote the gift of church teaching, dedicated for the new evangelization.
God's blessings on your work. May God bless and prosper you.
Shalom World, God's own channel.
Glory to Jesus Christ. Welcome again to Going Back to School. I'm Father Thomas Loya. And again, just a reminder, going back to school. School is spelled S.C.H.L. It stands for the Sacramental Catholic Human Liturgical School Worldview. We're taking that fundamental view, that sacramental worldview that sees the invisible made visible in the physical. In other words, seeing God revealed through his own creation, and we're taking that view and applying it to everything. In particular, right now, we're looking at marriage, that most important thing of marriage. And we said last time that the reason why we even want marriage, the why behind it is because God himself is communal. God is relational. And he entered into relationship with us in a way that is described analogously as a marriage in terms of nuptials, a spousal love. He made us like himself, the scripture says, and that's why we too want relationship. We want marriage, we want love, we want intimacy. Intimacy is the one thing human beings cannot live without. We search for it in any way possible. If we can't get it, we'll even search for it in perverted ways, ways that are self-destructive, but search for it we will. Ideally, we want to reach for those ways that are life-giving, that imitate and participate in God. So that's why we have to ask ourselves always, why do we desire these things? And we find out that we desire them because they come from God. And so they're good. So we pursue the good. We talked about Adam and Eve last time and how Adam only saw the completion of himself. He could only see why he was a man in relation to woman. So our being male and female is very, very fundamental. And how do we know right off how we're man and woman? For instance, how do you know I'm a man? And don't say just because I'm a priest, okay? That's kind of like by default, all right? Be more specific. Why am I a man? Okay, maybe you'll say, oh, I have a beard, right? Maybe my voice. Maybe you'll see my muscles too, right? Okay, so you know that I'm a man, not because I told you, because you're seeing me and my body is speaking to you. In whatever way, my body is telling you I am a man. See, our bodies, as well as anything in the physical order, anything speaks a language. It speaks about itself. It tells us about itself, but it also points to something beyond itself. See, that's the key here when we say the invisible is made visible. How you knew I was a man, because there were things you saw in me that would have been different as a woman. If I look at any of you who are women, I will know that you're a woman. You don't have to tell me you are. Your body will tell me it is. Even if it's fully clothed, you've got a winter coat on, I'll still know that you're a woman, as you know as I am a man, even though I'm dressed with all this. You know, because still our bodies will speak a language. The question is now, what language do they speak and why? I'm going to give you a little bit of an art lesson here because some of my background is in art. And artists, we try to master portraying the human body in paint or sculpture, drawing, whatever. Because within the human body, artists believe, is the sum total of all the principles of beauty. So if you want to be a great artist, you have to master the human body, at least try to. No one can fully master it. Michelangelo came very close. Because through those elements that you master, you can then apply that to anything else in terms of beauty, and that's how you become a capable artist. But it starts with the human body. So when artists draw a human body, they start with certain basic forms, a basic feel of it. Let's look at a drawing. This is from an art book, and that's something I would suggest to you. Get yourself some good books on art, even how to draw, and look at how artists see things, because that gives you a lot of clues into the why behind things. In this case, we see a drawing, an artist is drawing the torso of the woman. Now, what do you see in that torso? What's a repeated pattern? Well, the repeated pattern, you've noticed, is roundness, or what we might call concentricity. In other words, this kind of a shape. In fact, for you guys out there, can you guess what I'm gesturing? Watch my hands. It's okay, don't be snickering. I'm here with you, it's okay. I'll do it again. Now, go ahead, say it. What am I making here? What am I indicating here? No, not a guitar, not an hourglass, but you're getting closer. I'm indicating woman, aren't I? You guys know that, come on. And how did I do it? Let's rewind the tape. I'll do it slow, watch my hands. I start here, I come out, I come back in. And then I repeated it, right? Just like in this drawing. You keep repeating this kind of emotion, and it says what? It says female, right? It says woman. And what is that concentricity? What is it also saying? It's saying this, isn't it? Everything about a woman in her entire physiology. And remember, God is a great, perfect creator, so as we are in body, we are in mind, heart, soul, everything. We're a complete integrated package. And that's why cluing in to the language, the theology of our bodies is going to clue us into why we're man and woman and how to be that for each other. In fact, St. John Paul II said that the great question before the modern man today is this question: who will man be for woman? Who will woman be for man? You get that right, you get the world right. And that's what we're trying to do here by putting on our sacramental glasses and seeing man and woman, seeing the language of the body, what it means, what it points to. This gives us the clues to why we're man and woman, therefore how to be that for each other. That's the key for marriage. A lot of times people come to me and they say, Father Tom, we have marriage problems. I say, okay, come on in, I'll talk with you. So they sit down and ask him, okay, what can I do for you? And they start telling me their problems. Usually it's the woman speaking. You guys know what I'm talking about. Well, I tell them after they're done talking to me, I say, I got good news for you. No such thing as a marriage problem. You don't have one. They look at me strange because they've been fighting for years. They came to me because they want help. I tell them, I could repeat it again. You got good news for you. There's no such thing as a marriage problem. There's only a problem in Joe, the husband, understanding why he's a man, why his wife, Susie, is a woman, and vice versa. I mean, really understanding, and then trying to be man and woman to each other. I'm telling you, 9 out of 9 couples that come to me, that's the problem. So let's get back then to how do we discern who we are as man and woman? By reading the language of our bodies, by putting on those sacramental glasses. If we said that woman is built in terms of a sort of a repeated concentricity, it says this. It says connectedness. It says integration. In fact, everything about a woman has to do with her being able to connect things together. Women can actually focus on more people at one time. They can multitask better than men. They can focus on things closer than men can. In every way, woman is designed in her physiology, her brain. In fact, do you know, guys, her brain is different than ours? I see you shaking your heads. Yeah, the women's brain is different than ours. You know how it's different? You only got 2 hemispheres in our brain, the left brain, right brain, you heard about that. Well, those 2 hemispheres are actually more connected in the woman's brain than in a man's brain. Everything about a woman, her brain cells, her body, her mind, her heart, everything speaks of this, bringing things together, connecting things, relational. Now, what does this gesture say? What does connectedness, drawing things together, say? You know, a woman is designed to accommodate the world, to bring it all together. Remember, we image God. Our bodies speak about something about ourselves. It means that womanhood is imaging that aspect of God that is tender, close, relational. Remember when Jesus looked at Jerusalem one time? He began to cry, and he said, "Oh, Jerusalem, Jerusalem, how I long to take you to my breast like a mother hen takes her chicks, but you would not let me." He cried and identified himself in that moment in the feminine, like a mother. The tenderness of God is manifested, his immanence, his closeness. Remember I said he came to enter into spousal union with us? So his intimacy, his closeness, his integration, his connectedness, his relationality is manifested in the very physiology and language of the female body. There's something else about a woman's body. What is it that is in a woman's body, right about in this area? Something that's very, very unique to her, something men obviously don't have. And notice how it's internal, it's inside. The defining part of a woman's body is internal. What is that? Yeah, you guessed it. It's a womb. A womb is an open space. What does an open space say? You know, everything speaks a language, remember. Something that's open says what? Why is it open? To be filled. To be filled with what? Life and love. St. John Paul II said, this stamped in the very language of the woman's body is a special genius. Imagine a pope saying that womanhood has a special genius. So much for people who think the pope and the church is chauvinistic. No one's come up with that except the church, the pope. A male pope, a celibate male pope, says woman's body has a particular genius. I'm going to take it a step further. He said that genius lies in the fact that in her very body, stamped in her very body, because she has a womb, is the gift of receptivity. She is programmed to receive. To receive what? Love, life. And because of that, ready for this, ladies? The Pope said, the woman, from the Blessed Virgin to every woman, womanhood is the archetype of the human race. The archetype. Imagine that. Why? Because the human race is designed by God, as we said earlier, to stand in a posture of receptivity to God's love, to be filled with God's love, to be his bride. Yes, guys, we're the bride of God, collectively as human beings. I know it's hard for the guys to understand, but you got to stay with me. We're designed to receive God's love, to be filled with it. And that fact of why we're human is revealed in the very body of womanhood, making her the archetype of the human race. What about the men? Well, another drawing. Let's say you're drawing a man. You notice here, in this sketch by an artist, the lines are not circular, are they? They're more angular, The lines of a male body tend to start from a point and work out. See, the female, they start from a point and come back to themselves, like circular, okay? The male, it's all about what moves outward, almost like a triangle. Instead of a circle, you use a triangle. And that's the basic motif. See that? See how it's kind of triangular, kind of angular? How does a triangle work? Well, you start from a point, you go out. Start from a point, you go out. There's an outward thrust, an outward character. I'll call it external character, fundamental external character to the language, the physiology of the male body. What does that say? Remember, everything speaks the language. You just got to look at it, decode it, listen to that language, see it. If this says intimacy, closeness, tenderness, relation, then moving outward says what? It says transcendence, something is out there, something that is strong and mysterious and greater than we are. Notice how the defining parts of the man are not internal, they are external. By the way, ladies, it's a key to understanding men. Think external, externality. Everything about us works in the external. We like to hit, throw, punch, spit, kick. What do you do when you give a boy a little toy, a get the same toy to a girl. They'll play with it differently. What's a boy do with everything you give a little boy? Yeah, you got it, especially if you have kids. They want to break it, throw it, smash it, right? They want to test the limits of it. They want to kick it and throw it. Why? Because they're bad boys? No, because they have a fundamental orientation, their very being, to what is outside beyond them. They want to test things, hit things, see how strong they are. How strong are they in relation to those things? There's an entire outward movement of the male physiology, and that which is outward, that which is transcendent, that which is powerful, points to the other part of God. And that is not just his immanence, as with womanhood, but his transcendence, his otherness, his awesomeness, his power, his authority. Now you put the two together, power, transcendent, the awesome, mysterious God that is so far beyond us. Remember we talked earlier about the God who's out there, who comes down to us? Well, that's revealed in the fact that we're male and female. An awesome outward God, a powerful God, the righteous judge, who's also the lover of mankind, the tender one, the close one, the relational one. Not either or, but both and. That's who God is, the transcendent and the immanent, the one who's so beyond us and so powerful, and yet so loving, so close, so tender, so intimate. We know God, we can feel and we can become so close to him, yet he still is out there. He's still beyond us and awesome. Remember in the Bible, when Moses wanted to see God, God says, okay, you can see me, but you can't look at me directly because you'll be vaporized. No one could live after seeing God face to face in this life. Why? Because he's bad? No, because he was so awesome we can't take it. And that God who we cannot take by looking him straight in the face is the same God who's so close to us, he actually comes into us and we into him. That image, that true image of God, which is so necessary for us, is revealed just by the fact that we're male and female. First reason why we're male and female, because we reveal God. And we can become, as we said last time, as Adam and Eve saw, they could become a union community of persons. Not only do we reveal God, we can participate in God. Participate in God. We can enter into God, he into us, precisely because we're man and woman. And we can do it precisely because we have different bodies. And those bodies reveal the person. They reveal God. And when we come together in a way that only a man and woman can come together physically, emotionally, psychologically, spiritually, we experience God. This is why we desire marriage and relationship. And it stands in the very language of our bodies. Our bodies reveal God. That's why we say that they have, as St. John Paul II said, our bodies have a theology to them. The theology of our bodies. When we realize this, what this does is it clues us in then to what each other needs as man and woman, how we're hardwired. You ever notice that we know the difference between man and woman? You know, I never realized how big a deal things like in marriage were, you know, arguments, how big a deal things like socks were. Women always complain to me, you know, Father, he does this and this and that. He throws his socks around, takes the socks off, and he just throws them on the floor, you know? And us guys, we can do that, right? And we can step over those socks and never see them all day long, right? We don't see that because our gaze is outward, right? We just throw them around, we can step over it. We're focused on that out there. But what the guys don't understand and why it's a problem for the girls is because for them, in their minds that are different, this is what they see. See, we don't see the socks. For them, socks on the floor look like this. And they talk to them all day. They say, socks on the floor, socks on the floor, socks on the floor. And it drives them crazy. Why? Because their brains are different than ours are different than them. You ever wonder why women can talk so much? Guys sometimes wonder why. Why do women talk so much? Because talking is a way of connecting, of relating. And men, what do they like? When they're out of sorts, they like to be quiet. They like to go into solitude. They like to go in their man cave. There's all kinds of differences between men and women that are lots of fun to look at. We'll look at more of those in another episode. But the main point is, we are different. We're different and complementary because we reveal God in our own respective ways. And cluing into that is really going to help us to understand how to be for each other. That's why I said earlier, you have to understand why we're a man, why we're a woman, in order to know how to be that for each other. And you know something? A lot of people today don't have a clue because they don't wear these glasses. And that's why I am telling you this. So that your marriages, your relationships, your love life, your intimacy with God and with one another will be happy and holy and blessed and fruitful. But you have to know first why before we know the how. The why will clue you into the how. And we'll be talking more about the why and the how in other programs.
If you have good news, we expect you to want to share it. Salvation in Jesus Christ, the Son of God, who for love of us and for our salvation came down from heaven. Salvation in His name, and He is the only Savior, is what we are on earth for. Therefore, all those who spread the good news of salvation in Jesus Christ, we should encourage them. I can speak, but how many people can I reach alone? But the media, the television people, the radio, the newspapers, and all those who use the computer and its derivatives in various ways to spread the gospel. We must thank them. We must encourage them. We must work with them so that they can continue to spread the good news. There's so much news that is not so wonderful in the world, but there is also news that is wonderful on the gospel of Jesus Christ. We encourage them and beg God to bless them, especially the Shalom World TV. God bless you.
Shalom World, God's own channel.